Hello, it's Courtney with balancewithcourtney.com. I am passionate about helping others discover their happy and inspire them to make it a daily habit. My intention is to hack happy by interviewing experts to share their story, to inspire others and create a happy movement. Today's happy expert is Megan Nolan. In her business, Vitality Wellness, Megan works as a personal trainer and a yoga teacher where she offers clients, students, a variety of training tools and techniques to support their needs and goals. Megan seeks to empower her clients with knowledge and encouragement, offering support and motivation, and helping them transform on all levels: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Megan also is the creator of Whales Make Me Happy, stickers and product line. She was inspired to create the products to share their pure happiness that she feels whenever she sees these beautiful, majestic creatures. Megan, show them your shirt.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, no. Whales make me happy. And now I'm going to show she also loves rainbows, which everyone knows is my favorite. So I have Rainbows Make Me Happy.
I love it.
Oh, I love it so much. Oh my gosh. So everyone, that is how we connected. So we have the same coaches, business coaches, and they're like, okay, Megan and Courtney, you have to be introduced.
Yes.
And
well,
so
actually,
it's a beautiful relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today and telling your story. And just looking at you, you're just inspiring us with your beauty and the beautifulness behind you. Tell everyone where you are.
I live in Maui. I live in Waiahu, which is kind of on the northwest upper part of Maui. And so, yes, I get this beautiful backdrop behind me, all lush and beautiful. We will see some chickens and roosters maybe, but that's my backyard wildlife. But I'm really grateful to live here. It's super beautiful and it's just perfect for me because the sun is so important for my happy. And so that was influential in my decision to move here for sure.
Yeah, it's so hard not to feel happy when you wake up with the sun shining on your face, huh?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I lived on the West Coast for a while, and although it was very beautiful and green, it was just really hard for me because I felt like I was wilting like a plant, without the sun. So definitely an ingredient to my happy for sure.
So true. And such a beautiful inspiration just to get yourself outside when it's nice out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what a beautiful segue. Would you please share with us how you found your happy?
Well, I think that I discover it on an ongoing basis. I was trying to think about how I will answer this question. And I really feel for me that it's a constant work in progress. Yeah. There's definitely been times when it kind of felt like everything was falling apart and it got really rough and really rocky. And that's when I was presented with the opportunity to learn so much about myself and to start gathering a lot of the tools that I now use on a daily basis. I mean, a few years ago, I was ending a relationship, closing a business, and shifting my work away from working with somebody that I worked with for 5 years. And I was just super burnt out and I just didn't know if I wanted to continue. Yeah. And I was just, ready to give up and go work at the gas station or something, which is beautiful and wonderful and super helpful. But I was just ready to be done, and I didn't know what to do. And then a friend of mine at the time actually guided me towards a book. And it basically talks you through a gratitude practice, a morning gratitude practice that was created by a woman who owns like 5 multi-million-dollar businesses. And she decided every day that she was having a meeting with what she called her CSO. So she had like CFO, CEO, all those things. And she was recognizing that every day she was having a key influential time to sit down and basically connect to the universe, connect to God, spirit, whatever you would like to call it. And that's what she was calling her CSO, her chief spiritual officer. And so it was basically start from wherever you're at and start writing down like all the things that you're grateful for. and continue in that same present tense what you want to have.
Mm.
And, you know, cultivating that awareness of what is to come and anticipating that energy and all of that. And I realized that it was such a drastic shift for me because I had been struggling for so long, just in so many different ways, but I've dealt with depression a significant portion of my life. And I realized that I had a tendency to really focus on the difficulty and focus on the struggle and what I perceived as the problems or the faults. And this practice really inspired me to wake up every day and realize what was around me and see it and authentically be grateful for it.
Right.
And so that was really, really transformative. And so I feel like that was one of my key steps in finding my happy. And I've continued with that practice. And this morning was day 621.
Congratulations. I love that you count the days.
I do. Well, that was part of the practice, that they want you to date it, you know, and so that you kind of track your progress. I mean, there's probably been a bit more because sometimes I do it without writing it down, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that was like one big threshold of change that really shifted me. But then I think most recently has been what I think is probably going to be the most powerful tool, because I realized that I was again really struggling and feeling sad and heavy and discouraged, and then started to think, you know, like, what is this? Why is this happening again? Like, I really thought that I had moved beyond this. And I mean, I get that it comes up at certain times, and if that's, you know, it's okay, and I need to be nurturing and loving, but I was curious about it, you know, and like, why is this happening again? And was getting frustrated, and then started kind of asking myself and literally like talking to myself about it, and realizing like, okay, well, I think here's one of the issues is that I was being so critical and harsh and non-loving with myself, the way that I was looking at my life again. So even though I was doing the gratitude practice, I was speaking to myself in this voice that I would never speak to anybody else. I would never speak to anybody like that. But like, that was my inner dialogue all the time. And I'm thinking, you know, people talk to me and they're like, oh, so excited about my work, and they're so grateful that I did this, whatever, you know, and I'm like, it's so interesting because we're looking at the same life, them and I, but I was seeing it in such a different way.
Yeah.
And then I started to, like, in addition to having this conversation to myself, also begin to listen to myself when I wasn't having the conversation, starting to hear more of my inner dialogue and realizing that if I was being so harsh and critical, there's no wonder that my soul and my spirit were sad. Like, if I was speaking to myself in that way, it's astonishing, you know, and it was so discouraging and sad. And so no wonder, you know, and even when I think about it now, I'm like, oh, was such a key element. And so starting to change my inner dialogue and really hearing myself talk and shifting it, because in yoga, there's a practice and it's a teaching. It's called Pratipaksha Bhavana. And it's basically called cultivate the opposite thought. And so it's a teaching that teaches us that anytime we're having a negative thought, we try to find the opposite and explore the opposite. And so I was like, wow, that's way far away from what I was saying to myself. So maybe I should try that for a little bit and see how that feels. Yeah, and then that like was just
a reverse psychology kind of thing.
Yeah, completely. And so started to do that, and then feeling that love and the excitement and the happiness coming back in and really being the predominant emotion. And so that to me has been really important. So the words that I was writing to myself and now the words that I'm saying to myself, and just reiterating, you know, the beauty. And I think that's been my tendency for so long, is that I think it's called the negative interpretation bias. I looked it up. That's what it was called. And so it's a tendency to look at something and be like really critical about it, you know, or the other way to look at it is like, do I have problems or do I have lessons? And so I think like really kind of teaching myself to flip it and change things up a little bit and just be in that receptive, open, excited mode more than just shutting myself off. And so, yeah, I guess. So long story short, I'm working on my happy every day.
And I love the long story. I think that's what people want to hear, you know, because there is no quick fixes. And finding your happy and maintaining your happy is a daily job. It's something we feed every day. It's like staying in shape. It's taking care of your body. It's self-care. It's all of the above. And I love how you said that when I really resonate with your story, and we've talked about this before. And when you are in those dark times, those dark thoughts, how narrow your focus gets, where you do not say anything around you, but that negative thought gets so loud and so bright, that's all you can think about. It just consumes you.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And it's alarming.
Yes.
The way it takes over.
It's so unconscious that when we finally take time and say, okay, what story am I telling myself every day? It's like, oh my gosh, if I spoke to anyone the way I speak to myself, I would have no friends. I would have no family. You know, it's just, it's huge.
It is huge.
Gosh, it's, and you know what? It's okay. And I think that's the other thing. I think people that are in this spot and they have these feelings, they're so scared to be honest about them because they think they're so wrong, but they are very normal. And I think the more people talk about it, the more we feel it's okay. We accept it. We just, when those feelings come up, we visit them and then we acknowledge them and let them go and fill ourselves with light and say nice things to ourselves. You know?
Absolutely. And I think luckily I have so many amazing practitioners in my life, but one of them is an amazing acupuncturist who has struggled with depression himself. And I went in there to talk with him because I knew I needed help. And that's what we explored because he said, you know, the issue is often that we're not dealing with stuff and we kind of package it up and push it down. And then we did a whole procedure, or not a procedure, but a ritual of like finding that block, clearing the block, but then really going into what was inside. And it was this scared, sad version of myself that I had been trying to kind of put away because I had to get through life. I had to show up, you know, but that part of me wasn't being nurtured. And so it's been a difficult journey because it's like, I want to nurture that, but I also am aware that it's a slippery slope sometimes, you know, and I think that's where it comes into importance to have people like yourself that are sharing these messages, that are sharing these tools, that are normalizing this and that are having the conversation that's so difficult because mental wellness, mental illness, whatever, you know, there's so many struggles around it. And sometimes it's ignored. And that's the hardest part is like, we all want to be seen and we want to be validated. And that comes from the sources outside of us, but ultimately from ourselves, you know, and that's when we can begin to really show ourselves that love is when we understand it and we're compassionate with the stuff that's going on for us.
Exactly. When we give ourselves a voice, you know, so true. So will you define what happiness means to you? I know.
I mean, I know it's a feeling, so that's kind of where I would start. But for me, there's always this contrast because there's, you know, the depth of feeling unhappy for me feels like a weight in my chest. And happiness in contrast to that feels so bright and light and open and playful and celebratory and connected and, you know, just true. Because that's really, it's true. You know, they're all parts of us are part of us, but like the truth of our soul is that we are bright and that we are wanting to celebrate life and we are deserving to celebrate life. So that's kind of what happiness is staying in that place for me, staying in that place of recognition of my worth and me.
Yes. So you say that you describe beautifully in the beginning how you go in and out of happy, and it's like reinventing yourself, right?
Yeah.
How do you maintain it? So what are some daily things that you do to maintain that happy feeling inside? To keep the dark, well, you can't keep it away, but to keep it light.
Definitely for me, my morning ritual is an absolute. Every day, you know, it varies in length from day to day, but
Sure.
So on the ideal day, I wake up and I have a big quart of warm lemon water. And so starting with really nourishing, because the work that I do, I'm engaging with people all the time. And so my morning ritual and my morning time is is my self-care time, in my opinion. And so I have my morning lemon water, and then I do my gratitude practice, and then I meditate for about 10 to 15 minutes. And right now I'm doing mantra meditation. And so repeating one single mantra over and over, because I find I'm a very busy mind. And so it's hard for me to hold my mind still. And so I have to be doing multiple things at one time to keep my mind quiet. Mm-hmm. So meditation is very essential. And then exercise and yoga. You know, even if it's 20 minutes, I need it. I need it to feel strong in my body, to feel healthy, just to help me sleep better. So it's always guaranteed that I'm going to stretch or move my body for at least 20 minutes. And so that's always part of my morning. So I think those are really key ingredients for me.
Definitely.
To keep my happy, strong. And then throughout the day, just checking in and using, you know, some self-talk, some affirmations, and just encouraging and trying to stay on the path and noticing more readily when I get diverted. And so those are key. Those are my keys, I'm sure. Yeah.
So you put yourself first thing in the morning.
Yes.
I love it. You know, we try to just wake up and just go, especially us as healers, and heal everyone, but we don't heal ourselves, and we don't give ourselves that time in the morning. It is so important. And honestly, that is the most consistent thing that the people I'm interviewing say is me first. I give to me first thing in the morning. And a lot of times before I go to bed, I do some kind of ritual before I go to bed. And that makes so much sense.
It does.
Just give to you first. It's, my wife always says, it's like the analogy on the airplane. You know, you put the mask on yourself first.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's like a couple analogies that I could use there. And one of them is that we learn in yoga and life is the breath. Is like, in order for us to have life, we need to inhale, we need to take it in. And then when we have enough, we can let it out again.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's a pretty beautiful analogy, right? It's like we always need to be taking it in and replenishing. And then when we're replenished, we can give back and we can share. And so I think is really beautiful for everybody to hear that, you know, because it's so important that we take care of ourselves, because sometimes we have this perception that it's selfish, and it is, it's good selfish. It's like, we need to be taking, it's important. It's essential.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that.
I thought of something else.
Yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I have really been finding it was an interesting habit to start to kind of work on. And it came as a result of getting my new iPhone and was being shown the insane amount of screen time I was having. And I was like, listen, okay, we need to do something about this. This is not okay. And then I realized, you know what, if I'm really strict about this morning meditation practice, all of what I'm doing, there is no phone until after breakfast.
Awesome.
And I felt like kind of parental about it, which was good. I was like, you know what, I need to keep myself in line about this. But realizing that, what am I doing? Like, if I'm authentically trying to give to myself and take care of myself, I don't need to be turning on my phone and looking at what's happening on Facebook before I even like go pee.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I know. The first thing we look at when we wake up in the morning. I know.
So no more. And it feels good now. Now I'm kind of like super guarded about my yoga time, because before I'd be like, oh, okay, let me put on some music. Oh, what's happening? Oh, okay. You know, but now I'm super guarded about that whole time until I have breakfast. So I think that's another really key piece, at least for the self-care element for me.
Oh, definitely. It is so empowering. It is so empowering putting that thing away. Oh my gosh. And you know, phones are putting out energy. The minute we get on that, we're giving everyone else our energy.
Yes.
So wake up in the morning, you're completely depleted and you're just giving away what you don't have. You need to refuel yourself first.
Right. And I think it's so true. And I know that, I don't know if you've listened to Esther Hicks or the Abraham teaching.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So she talks about how, you know, when we go to sleep, we basically clear ourselves, and we are this open, receptive field when we first wake up. And so, and you're in, you know, a really receptive state before you go to sleep and when you wake up first thing. And so that's the best time for us to be present with ourselves and like say the loving words and set the tone for the day. Not going on Instagram. It's not the key. So that's one thing I try to remember when I'm tempted.
Oh, I completely agree. And, you know, I got that practice from her as well. And
Mm.
when I wake up in the morning, my cat wakes me up by walking over my head because he's hungry, right? And I'm like, Henry, I need me time. And so I will say, well, I do my gratitude practice then. And I think of all the beautiful things. And I also imagine what I want my day to look like. And that is my time before I get out of bed. And it used to be a struggle. It used to be, oh yeah, I got to lay here for a couple minutes. And now it's like, I crave it. It's like, I'm not moving until I can do my visualization. So it's powerful. You're right. You're right.
Super powerful.
Yeah. So you had went into this a little bit. So say you're going throughout your day and you just feel yourself off and out of alignment. What is one of the things that you go straight to get you back in balance?
I think even doing a little bit of yoga helps to reboot me because it kind of brings me out of my head and into my body. So that's always really nice. I think it's kind of movement centered. I find like dancing is really centering for me and kind of just shifts me out of that mental spin out or the chatter that's happening. Yeah. So yoga and dancing, and then, you know, any opportunity to go outside. And there's some really special spots here that I like to go to if I'm feeling the need to kind of be held by nature and just have that sort of reboot. Yeah, I think those are and talking with people. I find that, you know, we can get really into my head about stuff, and then I start to spin this story, and then I talk out loud with somebody. I'm like, wait a second, what about, you know, what's going on? So just having that external perspective and having somebody to bounce things off of, that's been really helpful for me. My partner Justin in particular he's so wonderful and helpful with that. So that's lovely.
Wonderful.
I think maybe too, that I've been noticing once I've started doing the mantra practice with repeating of certain words, I noticed that the singing element is very healing for me. And it's, you know, I don't need to be singing for a long time or singing loudly. It's just that repetitive concentration of the mind, and there's a brightness that comes from it. And when I was thinking about that and thinking about our talk today, I was realizing that when I've been going through difficult times in my life, I noticed, because I wasn't doing it, but I would notice that I didn't sing. And I'd notice that when I was like out of that space and was feeling good again, I would catch myself like singing a little tune, you know, nothing like, no, but just little like happy little songs to myself, you know, whistle while you work, if you will. And so recognize that, okay, well, maybe that's something, because it's something that I do when I'm happy, that's something that I can do for myself and that I do when I need to reboot, when I need to like find it again.
Yes. And you know, every single thing you just said made me feel joyful. So all these practices are, when we feel out of alignment, do something that makes you feel joyful. Going outside, singing, moving, dancing, breathing. All these things are not head stuff, right? Because when we are out of alignment, we are in our head. We're in our monkey minds. You know, we're just not a good place to be. And go out and do something joyful. It's a distraction. All of a sudden you're coming from your heart and you're like, I got this. I totally got this.
I think you said the perfect word there was a distraction. I feel like that's what it is for me too, is like I distract myself from what's going on in my head, and then just shifting, like it's shifting and distracting myself to something else by focusing on whatever it is. And then it just kind of passes, you know, and it allows me to get tuned back in and back into alignment.
So true. And what is human nature is we just struggle through it. We're like, no, but I got to get this done. I got to get this off my to-do list. I have to make it to this party, you know, and we just keep pushing through. Yes. Instead of just taking maybe 3 breaths can get you there, you know, just closing your eyes and just breathing. Oh, yeah. Oh, such a beautiful reminder. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So before we close today, is there anything else you want to say that to maybe help someone that's struggling finding their happy?
Well, I think it kind of something to consider, and it sort of sums up what we've just been talking about. And maybe you've heard it before, but I heard it and I was so fascinated by it. And I think it was when I started to like be curious about my singing, was I found this really beautiful quote. And I apologize because I don't know who it is, but it's 4 questions that you would be asked if you approached a shaman or a healer with feelings of sadness or depression. Have you heard this before?
No, please share.
Oh, really? Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. So if you were to approach, the story is, and the teaching goes like, if you were to approach a shaman with feelings of sadness, they would ask you one of 4 questions, and sort of based on their intuitive nature, they would select which one. But the 4 questions I feel provide a lot of guidance for me and other people when they're, they've kind of lost their way and they're looking to find their happy again. So, and it kind of sums up perfectly what we've been saying. So the first one is, when did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop spending time quietly in nature? And when did you stop listening to stories? And so I kind of take that last one as listening to others and to elders, and so I thought about that for a bit, and I was like, well, if those are the questions that they ask that are missing, because they believe without those things, we lose contact with our soul. And so doing those things brings us back into contact with our soul and our happy. So I thought, okay, if that's what would be asked of me, those are the things that I need to do for myself on an ongoing basis to maintain this, or to like pull myself back over when I wander off and get myself back into alignment. Yeah.
And just hearing you say those made me so emotional, because I know majority of people I would ask those questions to would say, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Wow. Can you say those again?
When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop spending time in the silence of nature? And when did you stop listening to stories?
Wow.
Yeah.
And when we take time and go out on vacation, we do those things, right?
Yeah.
When we go on vacation, we do everything that brings us joy. That's what vacation is. Why can't our life be vacation? We can create that. We can create mini vacations every single day.
Exactly. And I think you're doing so well to remind people of that, of the importance of taking time every day and making these habits. It becomes habits. It becomes a sum of our actions. And it's not just something that is there permanently all the time, but we need to nurture it. It's like any relationship. We need to constantly nurture that one that we have with our soul, with our spirit, with our happiness. It's so important.
Most important relationship there is.
True.
Yes.
I agree.
Oh, honey, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you
My pleasure.
so much. Please let everyone know how they can reach out to you and what you have going.
Well, we are at the very beginning of whale season here on Maui, and I have
She has a cup. I love it. Oh, and tell them about Christmas.
Yeah. We went on the whale boat. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you bet, because that's pretty awesome. What a beautiful Christmas present.
I know. He's so lovely. So we went on a whale watch, and it was my first whales of the season. So maybe to give people a little backstory, because they may not know why I'm so wound up about the whales. So on Maui, we are a marine sanctuary for humpback whales. The North Pacific humpback whales come here in the wintertime to have their babies and to mate. And so we have anywhere from 12,000 to 17,000 humpback whales that swim around Maui and Lanai and some around Oahu, but mainly over here. And so, I've been living here for 7 years, and the first time I saw the whales, it was just like a full light, bright explosion in my heart, and this childlike joy, that had maybe dwindled a little bit, just got reignited. And every time I see the whales, I'm like super happy. And I think probably like the joke is that the sticker or the product should have said like, whales make me lose my shit, because I just like ridiculous. And so the whales just make me beyond happy. And so they have such a magical quality to them, and they are so beautiful and majestic. And so that led me to create what was initially a sticker, the Whales Make Me Happy sticker, and then now Rainbows Make Me Happy. And so there's a website, whalesmakemehappy.com, so you can check out all the ridiculousness. And then I even have a little song on there that I think
know it's the best. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with you as soon as I watched that. Oh, awesome.
I know. Now you guys are going to have to watch it. You should check it out.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
I may just put the link. I mean, just saying.
Okay, perfect. Make it easy for him.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. And so that's been an interesting journey. So that's been really fun. So that's kind of my side hustle. Whoops. And then my main work, as you mentioned, is I do personal training and yoga. And so I recently created, which I'm super excited about, a course called Yoga at My Desk. And so it's 10 videos, each about 10 minutes, and they walk people through different yoga sequences that they can do right at their desk in work clothes to help kind of manage the aches, pains, and challenges of working at a desk all day. And so that's been so exciting for me because I've been kind of on a mission to take yoga out of the studio and bring it into where we need it, you know, in the workplace specifically, and to bring it to people that maybe haven't tried it before because they're kind of intimidated, and get to explore it and get to experience the awesomeness of the yoga practice and make it more accessible. And going full circle to what we've been talking about, when I first started researching how we can improve our sitting posture, how we can manage all of that, I started to learn and was pretty astonished by the fact that women who spend anywhere from 5 hours or more of their day sitting down are shown to have about a 40% increase in rates of depression. And so I was just like, whoa, what? You know, and then I've seen it in a bunch of different places. There's a lot of research, and a lot of it has to do with the impact of posture on our body. And, you know, that mind-body connection that's so powerful and that's so innate, and it can go back and forth. And so if we're in that kind of chronically sitting, rounded, flex posture, you know, our body is contracted and we're sending these signals back to our nervous system over and over. And so we are being affected by sitting. And so I thought, wow, this is even more important for me to share this message with people and start to kind of bring more postural awareness, open them back up, and like at least set the stage for that, the good, strong posture to help them manage these challenges if they are happening for them, and hopefully prevent if that's not happening. But that's kind of really one of the driving forces behind that course, you know, and some people are aware of that impact right away, and some people just kind of feel good and feel better once they're doing regular yoga. And so that's a side benefit for them, you know. And so that one is available at yogaatmydesk.yoga. So that's the website for it. Yeah.
Perfect. You know, I hear women all the time, because I used to be a massage therapist, and I hear women all the time, you know, I sit all day. I don't have time to stretch. I don't have time for this or that. So when I first met you and you told me about those 10-minute videos, you know, I jumped at it. And now that I'm living in my RV and I'm doing my work online, I'm sitting so much compared to being standing all day doing massage therapy. So I use these videos and I love them. I just want little quick fixes. You know,
Thank you.
and it just teaches you to take little breaks. You know, you set your alarm. I set for 2 hours and then I'm done. That might be too much, but that's what I do.
That's a long time.
Is it?
Yeah. So that's okay.
I run into the issue with me when I'm creating. When I get interrupted, I can't get back into it. So I give myself 2-hour blocks and then I take a good break. And I do your yoga and I go for a walk and on. But I had to find something to keep me moving. I just had to. Because you just, all of the above. Plus, you know, people at their job, they're already stressed. So they're in this position and they're stressed. I mean, come on.
Making these faces and all sorts of things.
Talk about aging you fast. Yeah. And there's no joy in that. There's nothing joyful about it.
No, they're not. I kind of think of these little breaks like recess.
Yes.
You know, remember you used to love recess at school? So we need to instigate that back into our adult lives, is more movement and more playtime. And so, you know, kind of bringing those little breaks in. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And thank you for creating that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to share it with everybody.
Oh, wonderful. Please hang on till I'm all done. I'd love to talk to you after.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
You're so welcome. This was wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much, Megan.
Bye.
Thank you for taking your time for us and for your growth. I hope you discover new happy habits to support your happiness. Please reach out with questions, or if you need more support, at Happy Balance Facebook group or balancewithcourtney.com. If you need one-on-one inspiration and support, please book a happy call. Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.